Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to my porch. I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York, back on the porch for the fall. So today I want to talk a little bit about creative process. I was thinking about this the other day because I was doing it, and I realized I do it a lot, and it could be useful to you if you don't, or maybe you do it and let me know, comment below. So the idea that is what I'm going to call the sounding board. Sometimes when we're writing, when we're conceptualizing ideas, when we're planning, it is good to have someone to listen to us. Now, this is different than another collaborator. Like if I'm hanging out with Seth, who I'm sure most people know if you're looking at this, and Seth is a photographer, we're both in the same industry. When we start talking to each other, it's a little kind of back and forth about how things are going on. That's a great way to kind of set yourself with goals, kind of move forward, and that works great. But not everybody has professional photographers that they can hang out with and talk about. And I don't think that matters as much in some situations. There are lots and lots of times where I'm talking to friends of mine who have nothing to know. I mean, they know I'm a photographer, but they don't know about photography. They don't know the industry. They don't know what's current. They don't know what's going on, how to work in the industry. But they're more than happy to sit there and listen to me talk essentially to myself, but bouncing those things off of them. You can tell sometimes, even if somebody doesn't know anything about what you're talking about, like specifically what you're talking about, you can tell by their expressions, how they're reacting to it, whether or not it just seems outlandish or crazy. Maybe it's something they're picking up from you that you don't even know you're putting out. But there's something about just talking to somebody about something or telling them about something and getting it out there, right? Bouncing it off them, seeing, even if they just nod their head and go, oh yeah, oh that's interesting, oh wow, I'm curious how you would do that. That's enough usually. This sounding board idea is better than just kind of brainstorming by yourself, because that, like human interaction, right? It's a conversation. It doesn't feel like, if you ever sat down to write something, for anybody who does any writing, or even just to like make a proposal of some ideas or come up with concepts for a photo, and you're just staring at the blank screen or just staring at your gear or whatever, it can be daunting, right? It's hard sometimes to just come up with those original first ideas. So having somebody there with you where you're just having a conversation about life and about things, and then all of a sudden the ideas will start to come to you, and then you can just say to them, hey, I was thinking, look at how this light is over here. Have you ever seen that movie that blah, blah, and then next thing you know, you're having this conversation, even though it's somewhat with yourself, but they're reacting to it. They're kind of an audience, right? Because think about it, most of your audience as a photographer are not photographers. So having somebody outside the industry as like your sounding board before you move forward, if you're like, oh, I think it'd be really cool to use red gels to do this and have this side of the face this and da-da-da, and just to see what they say or what they think, Not saying you have to go with what they say. Maybe they'll say nothing, right? And you're not actually even looking for their input in a lot of ways. That sounds kind of rude, but I don't mean it in a rude way. It's almost like hearing it out loud. It's like, if I keep comparing this to writing because I was just writing some articles, but it's like when you write something, one of the best ways to edit, I've found, is to read it or have somebody else read it out loud to you. Because our minds process things differently when it's out there, when it's verbiage. It's not just in your head imagining, it's explaining it to somebody. Try to explain to your friend who doesn't know much about photography the shoot that you're planning. Not necessarily the logistics, but the actual imagery, the idea of how you're going to do it, where it came from. And this will help spur in you even more creativity to start pouring out. I find that when I do this, it's better than a regular brainstorm. I'll sit down with a single idea, and by the time I'm done talking, I've got like 5 or 6 things that I've kind of segued into. If you watch these things, you see I do a lot of segues, because that's just how it works, right? Because when you're in a conversation with somebody or when you're engaging with somebody, by the nature of it, you're going to hit other subjects, right? Otherwise, you're just giving a speech or a monologue, which is not what I'm talking about here. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys, this is kind of a off-the-cuff kind of brainstormy thing here, and I'm talking to you guys. You're my sounding board. Let me know in the comments below if you do this kind of stuff. Do you have somebody like either a significant other or a best friend or just random people that you talk to that you can bounce your ideas off, even though they are not necessarily photographers or creatives in the field? And before you do that, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell, do all that goodness, and I'll see you next week.